The family thought Atlas had turned on their daughter. He hadn't. He was the only one who understood what was happening. Maya Ostroff pressed her back against the kitchen wall and watched the St. Bernard crowd their toddler into the corner of the playroom. 140 pounds of dog, 18 pounds of child. Rosie was screaming, not the frustrated kind, not the tired kind, the kind that comes from somewhere the body doesn't have words for yet. Atlas pressed his face toward hers. Maya moved fast. She grabbed his collar. He didn't flinch, didn't growl, but he didn't yield either. He turned his enormous head back toward Rosie and lowered it again, muzzle inches from the girl's open mouth, nostrils working in slow, deliberate pulls, inhaling, staying. Maya had been a kindergarten teacher for 9 years. She understood children. She understood distress. She had never understood a dog doing this, crowding a screaming baby, pressing his face toward hers, refusing to move. She had one clinical framework for what she was watching: a large dog fixating on a vulnerable child. She had seen stories about exactly this. She knew how they ended. Her husband, Daniel, came in from the garage. He stood in the doorway and read the scene in 3 seconds. The dog, the screaming child. "Get him out of here," he said. They put Atlas in the laundry room. He scratched at the door without stopping, not frantic, not panicked. A slow, methodical scraping that continued for 40 minutes while they tried to settle Rosie. She ate a few crackers. She quieted. She fell asleep on the couch. Maya sat beside her and exhaled for the first time in an hour. Problem managed, child calm. Dog contained. She almost fell asleep herself. Then she heard him hit the door. Not scratching. Impact. The laundry room door flexed in its frame. Then again, a 140-pound animal throwing its weight, measured, deliberate, not frantic. Maya was on her feet before Daniel said anything. She opened the door. Atlas came out, not running, walking, directly toward the living room, directly toward Rosie. Rosie was still, too still. Not sleeping, the wrong kind of quiet. Maya reached her in 3 steps. The color in Rosie's lips was wrong, slightly bluish at the edges. Her fingers were loosely curled and cold. Her breathing was shallow, even but wrong in a way that hit Maya in the chest before her brain finished processing. She picked her up and Rosie's head lolled in a way that didn't belong. Daniel was already calling 911. Maya was already speaking. Her voice came out flat and clinical, and she didn't recognize it as her own. They were met in the driveway by a paramedic named Brendan Tash, 6 years in emergency response. He assessed Rosie in under 90 seconds and called something back to his partner that made both of them accelerate. At the hospital, Dr. Fatima Ose, pediatric emergency, 12 years, came out to them after 40 minutes. She had a stillness that Maya would remember for the rest of her life. Rosie's blood glucose was 34 milligrams per deciliter, she said. Normal floor for a toddler her age is 70. At 34, the brain begins to lose its primary fuel source. We were inside the critical window. She paused. Another 12 minutes and we would be talking about something very different right now. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you never miss the next one. Maya sat with that number for a long time. 34, 12 minutes. She thought about the laundry room door, about the measured rhythmic impact of it, about how Atlas had not barked, had not yelped, had made no noise that could be mistaken for distress. He had simply thrown his body against a door because it was the only language available to him. She thought about the corner of the playroom, about his muzzle at Rosie's mouth, about how she had grabbed his collar and pulled him back, certain she was protecting her daughter, while he was trying to read a number she had no instrument to see. Dr. Ose explained it 2 days later when Rosie was stable and they asked, "Hypoglycemic episodes in toddlers produce isoprene, a volatile compound on the breath. In detectable concentrations, it shifts well before any visible symptom appears. Dogs register it at parts per trillion. Rosie had a rare glucose regulation disorder that had gone undetected. She had been symptomatic for hours. Her crying had been the symptom, not the cause. Every time Atlas pressed his nose toward Rosie's mouth, he was reading a chemical signature getting worse. Every time Maya pulled him away, he lost the ability to monitor what was happening. Every time she sent him to the laundry room, she removed the only functioning alarm in the house. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. They brought Rosie home on a Thursday. Atlas was waiting by the front door. He walked to her carrier, lowered his head, and pressed his nose gently toward her face. He inhaled once, then he lay down on the floor beside her and stayed. Maya sat across from them on the rug and didn't reach for her phone, didn't move to the kitchen. She just watched. The massive dog. The small girl, the slow rise and fall of Rosie's chest in the afternoon light. Atlas put his chin on his paws. His eyes stayed open. The next story is about a dog who changed his behavior 3 weeks before a diagnosis nobody saw coming. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one.